Joined by quite the panel this morning. I don't think I've ever been on the desk where it's this crowded, but I couldn't be happier. We have quite the guest this morning.
Which key?
Of course, we have Senator Daines joining us, Congressman Ryan. For the first time on Montana this morning, we have the Secretary of Interior, Doug Bergum. Thank you so much for being on Montana this morning.
Great to be here.
Thank you very much. It's always such a pleasure. Now, we have a lot to talk about, but I bucketed some time, so we have plenty of time to chit-chat. Now, the first thing I wanted to mention was State of the Union. A lot of people are still talking about it. Mr. Burgum, tell me a little bit about just your reaction, your big takeaways from the State of the Union.
Well, I would, but I think the first thing we ought to mention is that I'm a North Dakota State bison in enemy territory here, so it's like
It's a little awkward.
Not this year.
that should be the top line of anything we have on thing. But
Exactly right. We'll get to that later.
no, but the State of the Union was incredible. I mean, it was patriotic, it was forward-looking, it was filled with common sense policies, challenging Congress to keep moving ahead on a agenda that helps make the world more safe and everything in America more affordable for every hardworking citizen here.
Definitely. And I'll go on to our Montana delegation here. Of course, not all of them are present, but to those that are, what do you see for the future after hearing from the State of the Union? What are you looking forward to coming up next?
Steve?
Well, to say, remember, we had 40-year high inflation in the last administration. We got inflation down around 2%. Gas prices were record level highs. They're now the lowest in 5 years. And so there's a really positive message of where we're at now versus where we were just a few years ago. But going forward, it's going to stay focused here on our natural resources, continuing to grow this economy, continuing to find ways to bring prices down. It's great to see 30-year fixed mortgages are now in the 5% range. It's the first time it's been there in years. So there's a lot of good things to talk about, but the work is still to be done. And we're going to have a lot left to do between now, certainly the end of the year.
And Congressman Zinke.
You know, I thought he hit the economy, which he needed to be. As Steve points out, the economy is doing better. The stock market's up $18 trillion of investment. That's big. He also hit the border secure. Remember the number one issue just a year ago, he's in the first quarter, was the border secure. And lastly, I was glad he talked about Iran. As a former military guy, Iran's a concern. And he made it no doubt that Iran is not going to be allowed to have a nuclear weapon or nuclear material and hold the rest of the world hostage. So the choice is theirs. I'm telling my Iranian friends, take the deal, because if they don't, they're going to lose assets.
And Senator Daines, I wanted to ask, kind of switching gears a little bit to tariffs. We were talking just yesterday with a local coffee roaster here who they get a lot of their beans from Latin American countries, Colombia, you name it. And they're concerned. They're trying not to pass off that tariff charge, to their employees or to their customers. So what are your thoughts on the proposed tariffs?
Yeah, well, it's always important to remember for Montana, we are an ag state. In fact, it's our number one driver of our economy. 95% of the world's consumers live outside the United States. What President Trump has done is he has been fighting hard to make sure we've got equal and fair access into these foreign markets. You think about the Asia-Pacific markets, very important for our wheat producers, barley producers, our beef producers. So what he's done is he's been an incredible negotiator. He has gone to the table, he's crafting these great deals that are bringing tariff and non-tariff barriers down for American producers. And he's still in the fight. This isn't over yet. There's still a long ways to go, but we are opening up markets now for U.S. producers, particularly for Montana ag.
And Congressman Zinke, what would you say to maybe a concerned Montanan?
Well, an example is Stillwater Mine. Stillwater Mine was receiving its tough wins because they were competing against a palladium market that Russia controlled and subsidized. So a tariff in this case, 132%, made palladium now marketable where they can actually open the mine back up. For Montana, that's jobs. They're good jobs at Stillwater. It's a good place to mine. So that's a concrete example of what it takes. Now, the tariffs are a prelude to a trade deal. Everyone wants a trade deal, but in order to get there, tariffs are a useful tool.
Definitely. And Secretary of Interior Doug Bergum, now kind of switching over to you. Tell me a little bit about your trip to Montana. How has it been so far? What do you have planned for the rest of the day?
Well, arriving after midnight last night, it's been great so far. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely.
The only thing I think, like most people in Montana, I just wish there was more snow here. I share with you, my grandparents lived in Helena. I had cousins in Billings. I still got cousins in Billings and Butte, but we love coming to Montana, in spite of the fact that everybody just tells North Dakota jokes when you get here. But it is it's an art form here. But yeah, it's always great being here. But we, of course, wish for more snow, and we wish for more snow partly because coming up this year, I mean, we're worried about a fire season. It's been a dry winter. We're worried about the amount of water that we need in the West always. So those are two things that are on mind. But today we're focused on mining and critical minerals. Montana is such a resource-rich state. I mean, literally the treasure state. This state was built and founded economically originally on. I think your state motto means gold, gold and silver. I mean, this is the spot. And of course, the United States, like a lot of things, we lost control of our supply chains, became dependent on countries like China for all of our critical minerals. Montana is a key part. Montana Tech, we're going to visit there today. Key part of the United States getting back in the game on mining and controlling and securing our supply chains, which we need for if you drive a car, have a cell phone, own a laptop, do anything today or care about the defense of our nation, then you need to understand why we have to have critical minerals and mining going in our country.
And we're absolutely going to talk about that a lot more in the show because Mr. Burgum's going to be on a little bit later as well to talk more about his Butte trip. But Senator Daines, you're also heading over to a mine today. Tell me a little bit about your trip over to Stillwater.
So when we wrap up here this morning, the Secretary and the Congressman are going to head west to Butte. I'm heading east to Columbus. We've got a great story of a win by the Trump administration. What was happening is the Russians were dumping palladium into our country below market price. It forced the layoff of 700 Montana miners. These are great jobs with great benefit packages, huge effect on families. We battled the Russians. Thanks for President Trump, who got a 133% tariff now against the Russians. What that did is it moved the palladium prices back up to where now that mine is viable again. This palladium is so important. Of course, it's part of our catalytic converters, it's part of our semiconductor industry, it's part of our pharmaceutical manufacturing industry. Really important. There's only 3 places in the world it's mined: South Africa, Russia, and Montana. Wow. So I'm going to be there with the miners talking about bringing these jobs back and fighting on behalf of hardworking Montanans every day.
And we have more on that coming up in the next half hour, so please stay with us. But before we kick it off, Senator Daines, you were telling me a little something right before we got on air. Tell me a little bit about you and Mr. Zinke being Boy State.
Yeah, well, we weren't Boy Stars, we were Boy State. But
Got
I
it.
can tell you, we first crossed paths in 1979. I was a junior at Bozeman High School. Ryan was a junior at Whitefish Bulldog.
Whitefish Bulldog.
Bozeman Hawk, and we ended up in Dillon, Montana, what used to be at Western College there at Boy State. So who knew we stand here this morning at KBZK with you this morning?
Hey.
Well, and the secretary was also Boy State. So, Boy State's a great program.
Now
Come on, guys.
Out,
and gals, get out there. Girls State, great program.
Exactly right. All roads lead back to the KBZK studio, apparently. All right, we're going to take a short break, but to all of you, truly heartfelt, thank you so much for being on with us this morning. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, man, let's look at that forecast.